YouTube, what's going on? I'm gonna teach you today how I record my tutorials. Now, my tutorials are not the craziest quality. They are not best edited videos in the world, but they work. It gets the information across. I feel like a lot of analytics prove that my videos are doing well and I can provide them consistently. It's really hard to duplicate really great edited videos with crazy equipment and be able to do it on a consistent basis, which is something that's so important for YouTube. With that being said, I'm gonna teach you guys in this video a few little tips and tricks that have helped me become more consistent, more efficient with making these YouTube tutorials and videos. First and foremost, I would say lighting is one of the biggest things you need. The reason why lighting is super important is because with lighting, you can get away with your iPhone. Believe it or not, this is my main shooter these days, the iPhone 11. I spent a lot of money on crazy lighting like that. This is great lighting that I use as well for my videos. Ignore how dusty it is, but there's even more lighting. These windows, these big, amazing windows, on top of all this lighting, with this chair, bro, you can get away with some basic, cheap starter cameras when your lighting is on point. But who cares about the lighting and the camera if your viewers can't see what you're doing, the work that you're doing? So I pretty much use this thing. It's a monopod. Big old tripods get in the way between you and your customers, and they're just in the way in the barbershop. A small little tripod like this, you can put right in front of you. So you want it to be a little bit above where you're cutting, angled down. And I have some actual shots that my wife took of me actually cutting hair and recording a tutorial. Now, it does take way longer to do these videos, so you're going to need to set up time. Usually it takes me like double the time to do a tutorial because I'm constantly having to pay attention to angles. I don't get to use my mirror as often, and sometimes, man, I'm really sacrificing my posture and my body so that the camera isn't being blocked, but I can get into specific areas where you guys can still see what's going on. And not just that, I do sometimes have to adjust my ring light in order to get the best possible lighting for you guys, for your viewing pleasure. Now, when I first started my tutorials, I was actually using a pretty good camera, and I've downgraded since. I want to say I was using a 70D, 5 years ago with a 50mm 1.4 aperture lens. I mean, this is like a $1,200 setup, and now I'm using my iPhone. But because I've switched to this iPhone, I really don't have to worry so much about manually focusing all the time, which added more time to my stuff. And then because I use my Mac now, airdropping is just a beautiful thing. If you don't have a really good camera, you don't have really good lighting, you can buy a used camera like I did in the very beginning, where I bought a used body, got a used lens. If you're just starting out and you don't have a whole bunch of amazing lighting or anything like that, go to Facebook Marketplace, go to OfferUp, go to Craigslist, buy a used cheap Canon body. The only thing I would suggest is that you want to make sure you get one with a flip out screen, and then you need a 50mm 1.8 aperture lens, which you can get used for like 75 bucks. You can get brand new for like 125. Now, once that's done, let's say you do have this, I mean, you can edit your videos on here with LumaFusion, with iMovie, there's all kinds of editing. I've actually edited tutorials with iMovie, especially in the beginning of my YouTube channel journey. But again, if you don't have this phone, then you can also use a Windows laptop. You can get Adobe Premiere for like, I think it's like 20 bucks a month. You can use Windows Movie Maker, which I've used in the past. But if you have a MacBook, which I severely recommend, all the top YouTubers that I know use MacBook, and it's because it's kind of like Android and iPhone. Yeah, Android you could probably do more with, but the iPhone just works seamlessly, and you know it always works. For me, Final Cut Pro was so easy to learn, and I'm so efficient with it. And I'll show you a little bit of what I'm talking about. Ignore how dirty my computer is, but let's say I use this. I'm gonna edit this clip right here. The secret, like the main keys that I use, I, which is in, O, which is out, that's my clip. I'll hit let's say I'm watching the video and I want to start cutting out from here. So I'll click I, and then I'll move over, I'll click O, and then I'll hit delete. When I hit delete, you can see everything in between I and O goes away. And so that's pretty much how I'll run through a whole bunch of clips, cut. I'm just hitting I, O, keep watching, I, O, keep watching, I, O. And typically, that's how I'll go through and edit videos. So let me continue. So I'll be watching, okay, that's pretty useless. I'll hit I, O, delete, and that's gone. Please ignore my handwriting, but here's what I'm talking about. If you have Windows, I would say Windows Movie Maker, Adobe Premiere, which is $20 a month. I believe it might be a little bit more. This is gonna be 100 times better than this, but this works and it's free. If you got an iPhone, this is free. iMovie is free, okay? LumaFusion, I believe it's like, I don't know, $35 or something like that. But this is going to be 100 times better than iMovie. But iMovie still works. It's the same case for your Mac. Final Cut Pro is what I use. It's my favorite, but it works really, really great. It's $300 lifetime, $300 lifetime, and it's a great graduation from iMovie. So if you get iMovie and you're good at iMovie, it goes hand in hand. It's just a level up from iMovie. And if you have Android, I don't know what to tell you, bro. I don't know nothing about Android. Nobody in my circle uses Android. The moment that we see green in a text group chat, you are out of the group chat. But in all seriousness, if you have Android, just Google something. I mean, as long as you can get it done, as long as you can edit it, that's what matters. And then you can graduate, little by little, upgrade your equipment as you need to. By the way, I'm using the iPhone 11 right now. Now, these videos do take up a lot of space, especially if you're shooting in like 4K or something like that. So I would definitely recommend a SSD external hard drive where you can save all your stuff, because it does take up a lot of space. Watch some YouTube videos on editing videos. Whatever software you choose, I mean, literally the same way you're learning how to cut hair, the same way you're watching this and you're learning how I record my videos, do that for whatever software you decide to use. Windows Movie Maker, iMovie, Final Cut Pro, they all have tutorials like crazy, and little by little you will get better. Little by little you'll add to your editing arsenal. I can tell you, I don't know, I'm not as interested in the editing aspect as I am in the information. There's some people who are great at doing both. I'm just not, and I admit it. The next thing you're gonna need is a thumbnail maker, some way to make thumbnails. And I'm probably the worst person to give you guys advice on this, because my thumbnails are not great whatsoever, but they are so important. I don't know why. I just don't be like, I be so focused on doing the haircut and on creating the content that I forget to think about the thumbnail throughout the process. But what I can tell you is, one easy way that I use thumbnails is I do them pretty much on my phone, on an app, right? And what I usually use is a combination of Phonto, P-H-O-N-T-O. I use Spark Post and Canva. Most of these are free to start, and then you can upgrade as you go. And damn, that handwriting is horrible. I'm listing all these things and I'm sharing all this information with you guys. This is what I know. I'm always learning. And so what I really want the comment section to look like from this video, I want that energy to be, giving more tips and tricks and giving your own personal feedback, because I want the comments to be kind of a thread of help for people. Let's continue. Now, you're gonna need some kind of microphone. You can just do videos and then just put music over it. But for me personally, do voiceovers and put captions. The way that I did the voiceovers was I was using a blue snowball microphone, which are very, very cheap. You can get them used for like $40 and brand new for like $50. Since then, I've upgraded to the Blue Yeti, which is like $120. I keep that at my home desk, my home office. At my home office, it's a pretty badass office. Like, it makes it really easy to close the door, focus, and edit. It's a great place where I can do live streams, and just get a lot of office work done. I keep that microphone there because it's a big microphone. It's probably my best quality microphone. But I gotta put in that work. You know what I'm saying? We gotta put in that work. We gotta consistently be posting. So I travel with this, which is a Samsung Meteor. I believe it's like $100, but it is worth every penny. It sounds great. It's great for travel. It's smaller than, bang, don't get mad at me, it's all this gas station had, so I went with Rain. It's smaller than a can, and it folds up just like this, very easy to travel with. You could use your AirPods. I wouldn't recommend it. People will notice it right away. Sound was one of the hardest things to figure out when we were producing YouTube videos because it's severely overlooked, but it's one of the most important aspects of tutorials. If the sound is trash, people would click out and not even know why they clicked out. It just doesn't sound, if it doesn't sound good, it kills the quality of your video. I don't care what camera you use. It'll be even more noticeable the nicer the camera you use is. When you do your voiceovers, you're gonna need headphones plugged into your laptop so that the microphone isn't picking up the sound from the instrumentals that you are playing on your tutorials, if you're going to use instrumentals. But since we're on the topic of instrumentals, you need instrumentals. Now here's the thing about instrumentals. I used to think I could just Google copyright free video MP3s, download them and use them. Every single time I would get a YouTube strike, or they take down my video, or they demonetize my video. You do not want to use those. You have to find somebody who will give you permission, or a service that you can pay for that will give you instrumentals. I got lucky. My cousin makes beats, and I've been using his beats since the beginning pretty much of my videos. There are plenty of guys out there who make instrumentals that just want to get their instrumentals heard more, and they'll show you love, and they'll allow you to use some of their video audios, some of their MP3s, some of their beats, as long as you give them proper credits. I'm sure some of you guys in the comments can add a website that maybe you can pay monthly for, and you can get instrumentals that way. But again, I've been lucky, and I've been using my cousin's beats, Tito Beats Productions, for the longest. As far as laptops, this is like a Rolls Royce of laptops. It is fully decked out, custom made, MacBook Pro. Thing costs a lot of money. I would have never started off with a laptop like that. The first laptop I had, I bought for $250, a used 2009 MacBook or 2010 MacBook that I got off of Facebook Marketplace. I switched out the hard drive to a SSD hard drive, and that thing was running like a champ, and I used that laptop for like 3 years. I would recommend doing the same thing because people will go crazy. They'll buy all this expensive equipment just to realize that the YouTube grind wasn't really something they were expecting. So start off like that. Start off with humble beginnings, and then then upgrade as you find this a passion, or as YouTube starts to make some money for you, you can reinvest it into equipment. My biggest issue right now is finding models for my YouTube channel. So I created a dedicated space like this, and I started, advertising free haircuts. It's really hard to find models, especially if you're gonna do almost daily content. So, constantly building your clientele. If you gotta do free haircuts, you're gonna have to do free haircuts just so that you can get some more content, because you'll run through your clientele pretty quickly. Not everyone's gonna want you to record them. And so long term, you really have to be thinking about, how am I gonna continuously have content to produce? And so you gotta be thinking of ideas, have a board, write your ideas, write things that you see are trending in the barber industry, and topics that need more information, need to be covered, that people are interested in. The more people you can help with valuable content, I'm telling you, that's the fastest way to grow your channel. And it could be in various ways. It could be informative, it could be you're entertaining, you're funny. People find value in different ways. And if you can combine all of it, a great personality, great music, great voiceovers, great quality content, informative, if you can do all of that, you're just gonna give yourself a higher chance of growing in this YouTube scene. Now, you don't have to post every other day like I've been trying to do. You can post once a week just to get started. Whatever it takes for you to be consistent, but you gotta be consistent. Once a week, if you're gonna decide on that, do it once a week. If you're gonna do it once every 2 weeks, it's gonna be harder to build your channel, but at least do it every 2 weeks and commit to that. With that being said, I'm going to be in St. Augustine tomorrow. We're going tonight actually. January 5th, tomorrow morning, is going to be the Barber's Board meeting for the state of Florida. I definitely, genuinely recommend you guys go to these Barber's Board meetings, be involved in your profession, in your industry, and make sure that your voice is being heard, or people who aren't even barbering, people who don't even cut hair for a living, are going to be designing your profession that you're supposed to be a part of. So I'll see you guys in St. Augustine, and I'll see you guys